I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing. So cold, behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts peeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. And I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have...
Hello, how are you today? Thank you for tuning in for another Secular Activism Unfiltered episode. I am Kelly, the Detroit Atheist Queen, and today I have my guest, Haley Tiani. Introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Haley Tiani, former Christian, now atheist. Been an atheist for about 6 years now. Currently live in Springfield, Ohio. And I'm just kind of here with Kelly to share my story a little bit.
Yeah, so briefly describe your religious upbringing and your deconstructing story.
So my religious upbringing, I would say that um, I wasn't necessarily what you would call a church kid. So I would go to church, kind of like on the holidays. Um, I was not, in Sunday school every Sunday. I did grow up in the presbytery. That was my sect of my faith at that point. And then as a teenager, that's when I got even more uh, religious, as you would say. So as a teenager, I was kind of searching for my identity at that point, and I didn't fit in with certain cliques in school. So um, I found out that there was like this church youth group type of thing going on at school. There was like some type of prayer circle in the mornings before school. So I was like, okay, like let me see if that's something that I fit in with. And uh, then somebody invited me to their church, and little did I know that it was Pentecostal. I thought it was non-denominational, uh, but then I found out that it was Pentecostal. Um, and so going from like Presbytery to Pentecostal was a complete 180. Um, because like the Pentecostals believe in like speaking in tongues, and in the Presbytery we didn't believe in any of that type of stuff. So it was definitely like a culture shock. Um, and then like the way they dressed was really different. Their doctrine was completely different. But I think for me it was, finding community. Uh, everyone kind of believed the same thing. You believe that Jesus died for your sins, and everybody was there to worship the same God, the same thing, the same thing. So I really felt connected at that point. Um, until, just later on in my life I just didn't align with it anymore.
Yeah, that was so funny. You talked about how you lose group and the friend invite your church. That happened to me. That's how I got into the evangelical church, from a friend inviting me to a service. But what? So your story. Why do
Mhm.
you feel that it's important and that we should talk about it today or anytime? What?
Um, I think it's important, especially for like other Christians, like, like myself at one point in time that are deconstructing or that are questioning their faith and are like, hey, I don't know if this is something I align with anymore. I don't know if I can believe this anymore. Or maybe they're like scared to leave because they're going to lose their community. That was one thing that I was definitely um, a little scared about, I guess, when I was deconstructing. I was like, where do I go from here?
Yeah.
Because like all of my family are, for the most part Christians. I have my aunt that I believe she's like agnostic. But other than that, most of and my brother I don't think is religious at all. But like uh for the most part, my family is Christian, just by default. So yeah, I think I think too that, it needs to be talked about um with religion and how harmful it can be.
Yeah.
That needs to be spoken out about, and that you should be questioning everything that you believe, and that it's okay to doubt. Like that's not a sin. That's not wrong. Like that's something that, and us being humans, like that's just how we are, and I think how we should be. We should always be questioning everything.
Oh, definitely. But
Mhm.
we live in a society, and this is not even deeper. Like even like my parents and my parents,
Mhm.
where you did not certain people you do not argue or question. Is that your
Right.
parents? And that's the pastor. It didn't
Mhm.
matter what they said. Go. What I say go. I'm the mama. That's why. And I
Yeah.
found myself using that word a few times. And then my daughter was like, "Well, that's not right.
Mhm.
You don't know everything,
Yeah.
mom. You don't know everything." I had to realize that.
Yeah.
I'm just doing stuff because that's how I was told to do.
Right. Yeah. And like that's another thing too. Like I think it would be cool almost if there was something for like teenagers even that was like a secular community of like, hey, you can still have a community of friends, and it doesn't have to like indoctrinate you into a religion. You know what I mean? Like, but I guess that's where like sports and stuff like that come in too. Um, I don't know. I just really feel like there should be more things for people to do that isn't like centered around religion. Like
Oh,
when you're going to
definitely.
volunteer and stuff, like why does it always have to be like, you know, hey, we're gonna go to this other country to, build houses or to feed them, but there's a catch. We're gonna indoctrinate you into Christianity first, and then we're gonna help you. You know what I mean? Like you should just want to help people because that's the human thing to do,
I
you
spent
know?
yeah, I spent
Hmm.
several months in Papua New Guinea. As a
Oh,
young
okay.
adult, missionary work. I think I
Oh,
was doing
oh wow.
what I was
Okay.
supposed to do with the Lord at the time, but
Hmm.
some of the natives came with weapons at night one time and kind of got
Oh
us.
wow.
And yeah, and it was like, and they were
Oh.
speaking in whatever English they speak, but then somebody kind of broken English a little bit and was like, "Get
Hmm.
the hell out of our country."
Oh
So,
wow.
so we had to go back to Australia till we was able to go back home. But yeah, that
Hmm.
story in itself, like I thought I was gonna die that day.
Right. I mean, and like even with like missionaries, like for a long time, like I thought it was my calling at the
Yeah,
time as a teenager to be a pastor. And in the PCA, um, which is the Presbytery, there's like the PCA and then there's the PCUSA, which I didn't even know there was two different types, but apparently there is. And so at the PCA at that time, I wanted to be a pastor, and so I had my youth pastor who was a man, of course, and my pastor who was a man, and they, kind of took me into their office and they were like, "Hey, First Timothy 2:12, a woman is to be kept quiet and not to assume the authority of man." Um, so like long story short, like you can't be a pastor, like you're a woman. So basically like you're gonna have to find another denomination to go to,
yeah,
because in the Presbytery, we don't believe that women should assume a higher role in the church.
Yeah, like
Um,
I don't know. Yeah,
yeah, so that's why that was one of the main reasons that I was like, okay, let me find another denomination. Um, so I went to the Pentecostal denomination, and then I was like, well, maybe I don't want to be a pastor. Maybe I want to do a missionary because like I want to travel. Um, but then I also realized that like they seem to put pastors and missionaries like on this pedestal,
yo, yeah, they do.
like where it's like, okay, like if you're just a normal everyday Christian, you don't matter at all. It's like if you're not doing something big for the Lord or tithing in some astronomical way, then like you really don't matter in the church. And so that was kind of a turn off for me. And then yeah, I mean, it was just like I started to kind of wake up and realize once I went into the Pentecostal church, I was like, I don't know about this
Yeah,
anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
mhm,
Like I had a friend, and they were Pentecostal. So a few times I went to the service with them, and there would be like speaking in tongues and
mhm.
hopping, whatever they
Oh
would do.
yeah.
But then when their mom came to visit from out of town, they came to service with them. They didn't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, it's all an act.
And like I can remember specifically like being in the Pentecostal church and we'd have a time in this service where they would be like, okay, so somebody, speaks in tongues. Well, then there was the gift of interpretation. So it
Yeah,
would be somebody on the other side of the church speaking in some type of unknown language that nobody else in the church could speak. And then you have somebody on the other opposite side of the church that could somehow interpret whatever the hell they just said.
yeah. I
And I'm
didn't.
like, what is going on?
I'm
Because
confused.
like in the presbytery, we would read like the Apostles' Creed, where
Yeah,
like we believed, and I think it does say it in the Bible somewhere, where like because nobody actually knew where Jesus went for those 3 days that he like supposedly died,
went
you
to a
know.
party.
Yeah, but like in the PCA, we believed that like that's why we would read the Apostles' Creed, and like we believed that like he went down to hell for those 3 days and preached to the people that were in hell to like give them one last chance to be able to like redeem themselves. And then, he resurrected somehow, and that's the whole story with that. Um, but I don't remember with in the Pentecostal church if they had that either. Like I don't know if they had a specific
Look, I
thing
didn't.
as to what happened within those 3 days.
Yeah, I had friends that were Pentecostal, but I did not really go into that
Hmm.
religion too much.
Yeah.
I had one friend, and this might be a segue to something else, but we was friends in high school and everything, and I remember her church telling her not to go to the prom. It was a worldly dance, and some of the things that we did, she was not able to do. And she's gone now, like passed away. But
Okay.
um, yeah, she went through, and then it was just so much. I think that really corrupted her mind and her brain so
Yeah.
much. Where some of the stuff she was sounding so delusional
Hmm.
and saying she could see spirits and a whole bunch of other stuff, and got
Yeah.
diagnosed with mental illness
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and had to deal with that,
Hmm.
and me trying to help her bring her to my church. 'Cause my church was better than her church because they wasn't gonna do all that.
Yeah.
but 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 I'm here now, and
Hmm.
and so and I was like, her family, the things that they put her through, and I was like, man, that just really hurts. That instead of praying her mental illness away, she should have got help.
Right.
She didn't get any help. By the time she got help, it was kind of, can't really say too late, but she
Mhm.
was so corrupted.
Mhm.
They didn't really care about that. And I know I
Right.
myself deal with mental
Well,
illness myself, you know,
mhm.
and
Well,
I
and
some
that
of the
yeah. And like and that's another thing too that's like really sad. I feel like religion, whether it's Christianity, Hinduism, Jainism, all the different religions and different sects of Christianity. Um, like I feel like they definitely like prey on the vulnerable.
yeah,
Like they prey on like poor people and like people that are mentally ill. They're like, if you have a mental illness, like Jesus will heal you. And it's like, no, like this person probably needs like extensive therapy and like some medication. You know what I mean? Like not to say that like if that's what you believe in and that's what you wanna and like if that's what makes you comfortable and helps you, then by all means like keep doing that then. But like I would seek out like medical attention for sure. If that like aids you, like I don't want to like deter anybody. Like if that's what really helps them and that's what gives you comfort at the end of the day, then like okay. But like for me, I guess for me personally, like for me having bipolar, like if I didn't take medication to go to therapy and like just solely believed on like I don't know, spirituality or Christianity, and when I say spirituality, I mean like paganism and stuff like that. If I just like did all that type of stuff, like I would not be well. You know what I mean? Like I would not be well at all. Um, so yeah. So I don't
yeah,
know. Just some words of encouragement. Anybody out there watching the show, if you have mental illnesses, please seek therapy and medical advice.
yeah. I got not diagnosed with bipolar at the age of 30.
Okay,
So it
yeah.
was after my last child, and when I started looking through my life, I
Mhm.
realized some of the things why I was doing it. That's why I thought I was just having fun and things
Mhm.
like that, but I couldn't stop when I would go to the casino to gambling. I dealt with substance abuse
Right.
and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And a lot of people look at me now and they think I'm just perfect all around. But
Yeah, I
no,
think you're like a straight
I'm not
edge,
this
person.
person because of the
Yeah.
experience I've had to
Right.
live. But I will say, and I talked about it in my first podcast with
Mhm.
Jezebel Joe. I got diagnosed. I was still part of the church. It was like 20 years ago, and I remember we were we were talking about the scripture where the pigs, and it was in the man, and where the demon was in a man, and then they exorcised them out, and he went to the legion of pigs, whatever that scripture. So I'm
Mhm.
thinking I'm demon possessed.
Mhm.
In the scripture, whatever,
Right. And it's amazing at how
and
many
that's what the
people.
scripture said.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Like if you have yeah, I mean like I like so growing up in the church, like they always told us to like read the New Testament. They never wanted us to read the Old Testament. So there's a lot in the Bible I'm sure I don't know.
Yeah,
But but yeah, and
me
I was reading
too.
one of the comments from somebody actually that's popping up on my screen and says how like mental health is extremely damaging in the religious circles. And like yeah, like I can remember in the presby when I was in the Presbyterian church, there was somebody I think that was struggling with mental health and his wife I think had um was going through some severe like mental health issues. Um and I don't remember what ended up happening um to them. I don't want to like share their story online, but like yeah, I mean, I don't know if they were told to just like pray it away or
Yeah,
what, but like it's just yeah, when there's mental health issues in the church, like I think it really needs to be talked about. If you're gonna stay in the church, like I think pastors and people really need to talk about like, hey, just because you believe in a god or a deity like, hey, you need to, please seek medical advice. It's
Yeah,
still,
yeah. And a lot of times with these religious organizations, they control a lot of the mental health places. Because many
hmm
times when you receive services, you have to go to church service too, like Salvation Army, for example. You got
and
to
it's and it's
go through their hoops,
and it's
get
very like
help.
and it's very damaging too. It's like, you're taught that like if you have depression, that like, God's gonna heal your depression. But then, you're sitting there and you're praying and praying and praying, nothing's happening, you know, uh, and you're like told to like keep having hope, keep having faith, to the point where then you end up in a psychiatric hospital,
I've been there a few
or
times.
yeah, I mean, or you're just rolling through the motions of like you just feel like you're a shell of a person when in reality, if you just would shut off the religion and realize that it's okay to go seek medical attention and that you probably just need an antidepressant and some therapy and you would feel a lot better, you
I'm
know.
gonna beat this as soon as you finish your thoughts. This is very
Mhm.
important. I was always told that it was some form of sin in your life that was causing you to be depressed or anxious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm. I don't know if I was told that like for like directly, but that's sure I'm how that's probably how it felt. Um and then like I know for me too, um like sexual sin was like very, very prevalent in my life. Um and like, thought crimes, where it says in the
yeah,
Bible that like, if you even think about another person in a lustful way, that
yeah.
you're sinning. So like as a teenager, when you have all those hormones and you
And you
don't
see
know
a
what
cute
to do
boy
with
or girl
them,
or whatever the
right?
case may
And
find
and you're
attractive.
like, and then you're told, that like self gratification isn't okay, that like that's a sin. Um, so like I struggled with that for a really long time until like I just broke away from religion entirely because I
Yeah,
was like, because then like from the time I was a kid, uh, I was starting to feel like at least at that point that I was bisexual, that I wasn't straight anymore. Um, and then as
that's
time went
that's
on, like
that
now
red
I identify
flags.
as probably more like heterosexual. And for those of you who don't know what that means, that is somebody who's primarily attracted to non-binary people and trans people,
Okay,
um, or pansexual. I use
okay,
that term as well. And pansexual is just anybody that is attracted to someone. Uh, Gender doesn't matter. So it could be like a cis woman, a cis man, trans woman. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
Um,
I'm kind of falling into pan lately too.
mhm,
Like I was more like with my family does not know this, but they kind of know it now. But
mhm,
I really can't be confused. I'm bisexual, but then I'm like sometimes I can even find a trans person attractive too. So like, am I pansexual? So I'm confused with me, even myself, and I'm 51. But
mhm.
yeah, so
Yeah,
confused
and like
in
and
there.
like and like the purity culture, and like I can remember in the presbytery, I would talk to my youth pastors constantly about like lustful thoughts because I'm like, this is weighing heavy on my heart and I just feel guilt and shame. Like I should not be thinking about men or especially women
Oh
in any
yeah,
type of,
definitely.
sexual way. And like, um, I just felt like guilt and shame. Like that was one of the things that I just felt like complete crap about, and like, and then like I was actually telling my wife this and a couple other atheist friends. I was like, growing up in the church, um, like being gay, like that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, and like then, when I had lost my virginity at like 19, I like
Oh,
was
you're good.
distraught because like I wasn't married So like then I felt even more guilt because I'm like, I just defiled, God, or, I dishonored my creator and, becoming, I don't know if you would call it like unequally yoked. I don't know if that's what that means or if that
Well,
means like,
unequally yoked. I thought that
yeah,
like
I think that's if somebody's like religious and then non-religious.
or they could even be different forms, like a Muslim and a Christian. They agree
Oh,
that
okay. Yeah.
well,
So like,
it'd
okay,
be
so
different
maybe
terms.
maybe I said that wrong. But
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
guess like having, sexual relationships before you were married, like that was a big no,
Oh,
and
definitely, yeah.
and
You are
and
going to hell.
Christianity as a whole, I think. Um, but like, yeah, I can remember having like, um, I was just so upset ab about that, when I was a young adult, and then I was kind of just like, you know what? Then when I became like, I guess you would say more gay, when I like went away from men completely, and and I was like, you know what? I don't know if I can like get down with the religion anymore because like I can remember like even just having the belief as a Christian, not going to church anymore, but I still had the belief that like, there was a God and that, Jesus died for my sins type thing, but I was not like a practicing Christian at that point. Um, this was in my earlier 20s and when I was going through like my drug addiction. I'm a recovering addict as well. And I didn't know I had bipolar at this point either. I didn't I like I
You know what they call that, right? Dual
no.
diagnosis.
Oh
You
yeah, yeah,
have
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
mental
Yeah.
illness, you have an addiction, which
Yeah.
I dealt with that as well. So I had to go to NA and
Right.
stuff like that, NA and AA,
NA,
and still
yeah,
go
and
to
I
counseling and stuff like that. That's a whole
right? Um, so like when I was in my drug addiction to narcotics, I can I can remember like when I was with women, I can remember like feeling nauseous, like physically like sick. And I was like, why do I feel like this? And then I was like, I just kept having that deep-rooted fear of like, I'm gonna go to hell if I keep like practicing this. If I keep, quote unquote, practicing homosexuality, you know, I'm gonna go to hell. Like, so either I need to like pick, I need to either choose like if this is gonna be the way I'm gonna live my life, or if this is like if I'm gonna like be an atheist at this point, I need to figure out something because this guilt and shame is like tearing me up, you know? And so then I started to like deconstruct a little bit at that point. Um, broke away from Christianity little by little. And then when I got into NA, because
okay.
then when I was getting clean, of course, that was the only thing that was pushed on you was NA.
Yeah.
Um, until I was able to find, secular meetings. Um, so there's like smart recovery, there's satanic recovery, like,
Okay,
uh,
I didn't know that, but see, I was
yeah,
religious when I went through it, but I was tired of going to them. Like, they
right.
wanted too much in your business, so
Yeah,
I've not been doing anything for the
yeah,
past, about 10, 15 years. I don't do nothing. I'm
right.
I'm just willy-nilly out here.
Right, yeah, so, like, when I was first going and I was a Christian when I was first going as well in, like, 2019, 2020-ish, um, and, I was they were like, "You have to have a higher power, like, or you're not gonna stay clean or get clean." And I was like, "Okay, like, this seems super Christian." And then when I found out, like, Christians started NA, I was like, "Okay, well, that makes sense. That is Christian." Um, so, like like, going through NA, I was like, "Okay." I latched onto the whole higher power thing at that point. Um, and then I had a year clean, uh, and then I had relapsed. I had relapsed on opiates, so I had relapsed on heroin, and I had only done heroin like a handful of times, so it was not like my drug of choice. Um, I had used it intravenously, for the first time, and I had overdosed. Um, so luckily somebody had brought me back. They had Narcan. But I can remember everything was black. Everything was completely pitch black. I didn't even know that I had died. Like I just thought I went to sleep, and because I had felt tired, and that's what opiates do. You like go to sleep. So for me, like from that point on, you know how like in Christianity, like they'll tell you, like, well, you'll see Jesus and you'll know, like when you die, like you'll see some type of white light, or you'll feel at peace and you'll know that that's Jesus, or you'll know that that's God coming to get your soul or whatever, and like when I when I was brought back, I was kind of like, well, where was God? Like I didn't see anything, so then that's when I really started my deconstruction, and that's when I found the Friendly Atheist.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
He's probably one of the first ones I watched as well.
yeah, what is his name? Um,
Hugh Hugh Meta.
um, he's an Indian guy, and I can't think of
Yeah,
what his name is. Yeah,
Hugh Meta.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his name on YouTube is the Friendly Atheist. Um, and he has this uh thing on his YouTube where like it breaks down each book in the Bible or each verse or each chapter or something. So I started to watch him, and yeah, a goddess on the comments said his name on there. Yeah. Yeah, that's who I'm talking about. Um so I started to watch him and I was like, yeah, like this makes sense. Like, like the science behind everything and how like, God says like, and then there was light, but like it doesn't make sense if the light would come before, or like if darkness would come before light and stuff like that. So I started watching him and I was like, yeah, like that makes sense. And then I started to watch Matt on the atheist experience, and I was like, when the Christians would call in and Matt would just ask them like the simplest question and would be like, well, how do you know what you believe is true?
Yeah. Can
And
you
I
get
never asked myself that question. So then I was like, oh, like I don't actually know why I believe any of this. I was just told
because you
this.
was told, yeah.
Right. And like I don't have any good reason to believe this. It's just a comfort thing. So then I started to be like really pissed off. And so I called myself like the angry atheist for like the past 6 years because like I just felt like extremely lied to, you know? And I
Well,
was like, I don't know why I
I
believe
I
any
couldn't
of
really
this.
get mad because they believed it too and they thought they were doing what was right.
Right.
I can't
Hmm.
really get mad at my family. I'm gonna go backtrack a little bit.
Oh yeah, you can. Go ahead. Yeah.
You talked about how can't think what you said. I'm gonna say pansexual because I forgot the term you
Hmm.
used.
Yeah.
And you're now married to another woman.
Hmm.
What would you say your family felt was worse? Being you came out as an atheist or you came out as being pan or not heterosexual? What would have been worse for your family? What did they which one did they
Hmm.
feel was more accepting or not accepting, I should
Hmm.
say?
Well, that's a great question. So like I had told my parents um that like I'm an atheist. I have blatantly told them that I am not a Christian. Um And I don't know if I ever, like, came out as gay, like, I don't know if I ever said, like, "Mom and dad, I'm gay." Um, but, like, the funny thing about
Well,
that
you're
is that
married now, so they, so
right, yeah, um, and, like, they definitely, like, have expressed, like, they still love me no matter what,
oh,
no
that's good.
no matter if I'm an atheist, Christian, what religion I am, who I'm in love with, it doesn't matter to them as long as I'm happy, you know?
Okay, that's good.
Um, but, like, my brother is also gay, so,
Oh,
like, he has a husband. So, like,
oh, okay. Okay.
yeah, so I think for them, it's kinda that's just kinda how it is in our family. Um, but, since my parents are more on the conservative side and I would consider them Republicans, they definitely, go back to the quote unquote more traditional type of things to where like, they have, I'm just gonna say like a blanket statement, they have more traditional views. Um, so they're very Christian, so take with that as you will. I don't want to get too much into it in case they would come across this interview. I don't want to out them too much, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
you
know,
know,
I gotta do that. Yeah.
um, but yeah, just I would definitely put them on more of the conservative Christian spectrum.
Okay.
Um, so I don't really know what would have been like quote unquote worse. Um, I think that for any Christian, I don't think they would want their child necessarily to be an atheist. I think they could do without that, um, or gay even, I don't know if there's set people in Christianity that would want that for their kid. I'm sure a lot of more devout Christians, I would say, probably would be more of like, you know, go to conversion therapy type thing, but my parents are not like that at all.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so like, and like to me, as an adult, like, yeah, like of course there's always a part of me that wishes that like my parents were leftists and more more supportive, with a lot of things, especially when it comes to politics and especially when it comes to LGBTQ rights. Um, but they have their views and I have mine and they're like in their late 50s, early 60s, so I don't know if there's any changing them at this point, you know? But I know for a fact they can't change my mind.
Yeah. You're an
I'm
individual
definitely,
person.
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to kind of wrap my head around what humanism is. I guess I would say I'm more of a humanist.
Yeah.
Um,
You do
and a
good. You do good for the better people
and
in
a
this
and a
world.
leftist. Like I'm a type of person like I will always stand up and speak out.
Yeah, you have to, because if you have a voice to speak, it's always best. You're muted. Can you hear me? Now you're muted again. Go, come back in.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah, okay. I didn't hear you before.
My headset works. Okay, let me see.
I can hear you now. Is your earbuds okay?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. My headset died. So so I
Okay,
was
that
trying,
happened.
yeah,
Okay.
my headset died. So I was trying to connect it to the computer. Um yeah, I don't know. My wife's headset must have disconnected on me. But I just wanted to make sure everybody you could hear me.
Yeah, you sound good. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so but yeah, I mean like so as a Christian, I remember being like pro-life and that I would speak out against like abortion, and I would go to down to Planned Parenthood and silently pray with my sign because that's what I was told and you know, like you shouldn't like abort babies and you shouldn't, do all these things. And so now as a secular humanist, I want to make sure that like abortion is healthcare and I had to learn all that stuff. I had to deconstruct all of that stuff. I had to deconstruct it like there was only two genders. And I had to deconstruct that trans people were just confused, or that they were, choosing this. And I had to deconstruct that, being gay was wrong.
Yeah.
I was like internally like homophobic because like that's what I was told. And I was told that like if you couldn't, um, I was against my own brother for a while, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I had to reconcile that with him, and like I had to be like, I deeply apologize for being like that, because like that's what I was told, and I felt like I was being pulled. It was like if I didn't denounce like homosexuality, then like I was defiling my church and my God. But like if I went into, you know, uh, being gay and I accepted all these things, then like I was what they would call, what do they call that in the church? I'm drawing a blank. They would call
Sinful.
that like sinful, or that you're like, being secular, or like worldly, you know,
Worldly, yeah, worldly.
yeah,
That's the word they use a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
worldly, or that you were falling into the things of the world,
And that,
and that was a sin.
the
Um,
last church was that
yeah.
so yeah.
So like I just felt pulled constantly, and I was just like, you know what? So like after my overdose and everything, and after I completely like got into my deconstruction, I was like, I don't want to believe this anymore. And then when I started to listen to like the call-in shows of like Matt and Shannon Q and Secular Rarity,
Yeah.
um, Godless Engineer,
Yeah.
and all of them, like when I started to listen to all of them, and Matt even saying like how like there's slavery in the Bible. I had no idea there was slavery in the Bible because they didn't want us to read the Old Testament. So like I was only reading the New Testament because
But even Paul talked about it a little bit, you
yeah,
know.
I think so. Somewhere in the like
Slaves obey your master and your
oh yeah,
days will be long
yeah,
or something like that. I don't quote me on that, but
right.
it's something like that. And it's talking about the children, um, spare your rod and all that stuff. I thought that was like a New Testament part. I might be wrong. Don't get me wrong. I was
I
at the
know
Bible so long.
when Matt even said like, do you believe that like, when he's talking to the call-in people, and he would say like, do you believe that like you should own people as property? And I was like, well, no, like that's awful. So just like little things like that, I can't believe this anymore. Like this is ridiculous. Like this
Yeah.
is horrible. And then Shannon Q, she
Oh, I
had said,
love her. She's
I
amazing.
love her. Yeah, she had said something like when she explains like her deconstruction. Sometimes when people ask her on the call-in shows, um, and she was saying, like I didn't want to stop being a Christian, but I think for me, um, she was saying something along the lines of like she didn't want to stop being a Christian, um, and that she, yeah, she didn't want to stop being a Christian, and that she was doing everything to hold on to her faith, researching everything and trying to hold on to her faith. But like for me, it was like if there's no truth to this, and like if I'm gonna have to deny who I am as a person, then I genuinely don't want to believe in this anymore. I don't want to believe in a religion that just makes me feel comfortable. I don't want to believe in something that promotes slavery or pedophilia or beating your children or killing people. Like I don't want to believe in any of that. So like if that means I'm an atheist, then like so be it. Like that's just what it's gonna be, you
But
know?
then you realize that atheist is just the belief of not believing in a God, and that even if you're atheist, you can still do a lot of those things as well. And I found that out the hard way and the sad way. That's why they say secular humanists, you care about the good of the people.
Right.
That's why we use that term, because it's some Trump supporters, it's some god awful people that just don't believe in God. That doesn't
Right.
make or break you as a person. And I found that out. So I consider myself secular humanist. I consider myself anti-theist more than
Mhm.
even an atheist, because if
Right.
the
Right.
Bible is true, I don't even give a damn anymore.
Right. Yeah. That's what I made. That's that's what I say to a lot of people too. Like, even if it was real, like, you're not gonna get me to worship it.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I got this.
I don't care if like Ganesha's real, or like the quote unquote Muslim god, if it's a separate god from like Christianity, I have no idea. But like, um, or like uh Jainism, you know, like I'm not gonna worship it. You couldn't pay me enough to worship it, you know, like I don't really care if it would exist or not. Like, you know.
I'm gonna go back to human meta. You talked about him. And he was Jainism, talked about that and his being obstructing and stuff like that. But they believe that all life is worth something. It's real more softer than Christianity, the Abrahamic religions.
Yeah.
But when I was deconstructing, he had a, a Bible study thing that he did on this channel. So every week for an hour or two, he would read scriptures from the Bible, from Genesis all the way to Revelation. So the whole Bible. Took
Yeah.
several months to do it.
Yeah.
And that was one of my highlights of getting up to watching his show in the morning, talking
Well,
about the
yeah,
Bible.
because he breaks it down into like a
Yeah,
logical, like,
yeah,
argument, where like most
yeah.
people read it and be like, oh, well, that makes sense. But then it's like, if you really break it down, it doesn't make any sense at all. And there's
Yeah.
contradictions.
And you're like, wait, that's not what I remember them saying. But he would say, turn, if you got a Bible, read along with me. I'm reading NIV.
Mhm.
So he was reading straight from the Bible. From Genesis all the Revelation. And when we talked about, it was like, and how many murders did God do on this day? And he pulled that up too. So we would, at the end, he would say, Satan 0, God 5,000. And that's crazy. You know, what? Getting close, about 10 minutes or so. And what any goals you have, short-term goals you have for yourself? And is there any way that we can help you? Because I think your message is important.
Mhm.
I love that younger people are stepping up, and I realize religion is bullshit.
Right. Yeah. So I think really, I mean, I would like to see younger people for sure, like 40s, 30s, 20s, you know, like, um, just start questioning stuff. Start getting out of the religion. It's okay. You're gonna be fine. Like, there's so many secular groups, especially on Facebook, Instagram, Threads even. I don't know if you guys are on Threads, but
Yeah,
Threads,
yeah, it's Instagram.
uh, X or Twitter or Blue Sky. I don't know. There's so many different platforms, but TikTok. There's a lot of good content on TikTok. Um, and like, I guess short-term goals would be, I would hope to make a podcast at some point. I know with my work schedule, it's crazy. Um, so at any point, since I found out I can use my wife's computer and the camera and everything works, I would like to make a podcast at some point. I don't really know what it would be on, if it would be like a call-in show or not, but it would be really cool to make some type of podcast. That would be cool.
I'll say this: start locally. If you can
Oh,
do something locally,
yeah.
you know, and I'm here on this platform. work at Black non-believers, but most of my work is done in person because there's so many people that come up. I didn't know there was a space, especially being a Black woman, and they are so happy to see me and doing events, having places to hang out. Because when I deconstructed, it was a little bit before COVID, but I didn't. But I was okay just being at home. All I would do was just be home and watch Human Meta, read the Bible, and other stuff. Because I had to go to every Sunday going to church. This is a break. So around then I went through a uterine cancer, I talked about it before. And so that was like 19. So by the time I went through healing, I felt better. I'm like, well, dang, I kind of want to be around people. I'm kind of tired of being by myself. I want to find people that I can relate to. So when I started finding groups and stuff, they were mostly cis people, just white people.
That was another thing that I found too. Like I know, like on what is it? It's like meetup.com or something, and there is an atheist group that meets in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
I think on Tuesdays, but that's the thing. Like I can't make it because I'm at work.
There, I do have. It's a couple of people I know in Columbus. It's an interracial couple, but he's part of Black non-believers, sort of. But it's kind of hard because there's no group there, and him and his girlfriend or wife, but they're not too far from Columbus.
Okay.
But sometimes they come to my meetings very, very suddenly. Hopefully, I'll get you guys. You might have seen them if you go to some of the Columbus groups. I know they go to some of the other groups and stuff like that. But
to any of the atheist groups in person yet, just because, like I said, like it always conflicts with my work schedule.
I understand that.
And like I don't get a whole lot of vacation time either, so like it's like impossible to like take off half the time. So, but that'll be my next thing. I think I'm gonna make a Facebook post about it later on today of like, hey, does anybody know of any in-person atheist groups that are in Ohio anywhere?
Are you a meetup?
Am I on Meetup?
Yeah.
I think so.
Sometimes you go on Meetup and they'll put you in your area. You put in atheist groups. Sometimes that'll
okay. I'll look that up.
That'll work. Yeah.
I'll look that up because it would be so cool to be able to like meet people face to face. Because I love video chats and stuff too, but it's so different. Like being able to just, I found my quote unquote tribe of people in person. You know, but yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of hanging out, with my wife most of the time. My wife's my best friend, so I have other best friends.
I don't have that.
Yeah, but so it's just me and my wife basically most of the time, and just out here in Springfield, Ohio. There's not much to Springfield, but just watching all the shows online. I always keep up with the Atheist Experience.
Is she also an atheist as well?
My wife. So I would consider my wife more Wiccan or pagan.
Okay.
Or what people would call like a spiritual person. I know Matt, will say his things on spirituality. He doesn't understand the definition of spirituality, but yeah, I guess you would say like a omnitheist. They kind of pull from all the religions. But I would say their main focus is probably paganism, Wiccan, stuff like that. Okay. Yeah, but I'll pass it along to them. They are non-binary, so they come to them usually, but they do go by she, her from time to time.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll pass that along to them. They would probably love to be on the show.
Yeah, I like to talk. Yeah,
and they'll be able to promote their business more. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I only brought one person on. They were part of the Celtic religion, so I was trying to get a different talk of different people who walked away from Christianity or the Abrahamic religions, and they're now pagan Satanists or something like that, and see how they came to that. That's why I have those questions on there in the questionnaire as well, because I'm trying to talk to more to them, like why, what clicked for you to be pagan and not atheist or whatever, and how can we work together. So that's what I'm trying to do. I have episodes with them as well. I'm just trying to different content and different conversations and things like that. Okay, so I want to plug me real quick, and this is what I need to do when my guests are talking. Get me off the screen. I gotta remember to do that. I'll get it, people. I'll get it. But right after this, I'm gonna be hosting in the cut Black Non-Believers channel. Our regular host will not be here, so I have to be the host for the day. Wasn't prepared for that, but
Yeah.
Mandy calls. She volunteered told me that's what I'm gonna do. Sunday, tomorrow, I am going to be having. I wanted to do a live stream for my 200 subscriber celebration, whatever. I know that's small, but it's a milestone for me. But I've been asking for, I had a post in here on the YouTube wanting people to ask questions. I only got one question posted. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing it because I don't have enough questions, but I might just have people ask questions on the screen. But if it's not a lot of people in the chat, there still won't be a lot of questions to be asking. I don't know if I can entertain somebody for an hour, just me talking for an hour. And Monday, of course, our beautiful Ryan is in the chat. Java and Jugs is always Monday, 9 a.m. to 11 Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday, I'll be talking with Dr. Kip about the difference and the similarities of biblical slavery and chattel slavery. And it's another interview I have as well. But 2 days far enough I can remember. I can remember. But I want to thank you for coming on and thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, of
and I think that it is very important and things like that, and how I had some of the thoughts you did as a young person, but only difference is I did not keep going. I still held on to my beliefs for at least 10 more years because I was 40 when I finally left. Even though I had questions the whole time. But I didn't have this internet around. When I was younger, there was no internet. You asked your mama, your pastor, and anybody, any other adult that you knew, they still were religious. And the person who I knew growing up that was not religious, that was atheist, devil worshiper, as my grandma called them, he was not allowed to talk to me about religion and God and stuff like that. But I'm here now, and I'm hopefully that my message can help other people just as yours can.
Yeah, it's never too late to become an atheist.
Never too late. I thank you, people, for tuning in. Oh, sorry. Finish your thoughts. I'm rude.
I was done. Yep.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thank everybody for tuning in, and like I said, I'll be in tomorrow about 3:00 for about an hour live stream. And tune in, come right over to Black Non-Believers. I learned how to do that. How to tune in for Black Non-Believers for In the Cut episode after this at 1:00. Till next time. Bye, everyone.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride.